bọ́yè gbogbo àwò àbọ̀rù bọ́yè ẹ̀yin babaláwo èèyàn ìbọ̀rù bọ́yè ó yàn.
Hey, Aboy, how's everybody today? This is Oluo Fakolade of Idin Kai Fa Temple. So today's morning service, we will begin with our morning prayers. So, Mojuba Loro, Mojuba Leda, Mojuba Loro Mari, Mojuba Bobo Romale, Mojuba Bobo Imale, Mojuba Bobo Egun, Timbili Solo Mari. Mojuba Miss Mother Delu Sudan's Murray, Mojuba Dar Song, Mojuba Base Fersina, Mojuba Fidelis, Mojuba Kafidens, Watkins, Mojuba Dale, Mojuba Zion, Mojuba Nago, Mojuba Kafid Holmes, Mojuba Kafid Watkins, Mojuba Jenny Dunn, Mojuba Katie Bradley, Mojuba Ski Bradley, Mojuba James O'Riggs, Mojuba Benino Chino, One Vilmil no Block, Dennis Agustin Vilmil, Mojuba Bobo Egun, Timbili Solo Mari. Ashe. Ejiogbe. He who hears people's pleas accept the pleas. He who hears people's pleas and approves pleas. He who talks people's shuts the talks and pleads Lord. He who hears people's pleas and accepts the pleas is the name of Ifa. He who hears people's pleas and approves pleas is the name of Shul Dar. He who talks people's shows at the talks and completes Lord is the name of Orishanla. You're the person most human beings. Person mows one cannot fail to impress one. Strike frogs on some's rainfall. Blow frogs on some's downpour. It is whatever the original poem to you tells earth what it accepts. Whatever the big rat tells earth what it accepts. All what I tell you, Father, please accept them and approve them. I share. To show gratitude upon gratitude, the of our gratitude. To display benevolence upon benevolence is the of our benevolence. Whoever's not show gratitude, that's the benevolent person receive today's gratuity. These declarations to the one I'm going to marry a daughter Ruth Bougie. I'm grateful. I see my gratuity. I'm grateful for yesterday's favor. I see today's gratuity. O Turete, we're very grateful. I share. Awa dupe, awa bure, awa dupe o, awa bure. Adúpẹ́ àná wa ó borí tùnébọ̀ Olódùmarè àwa dúpẹ́ àwa búrẹ́ àwa dúpẹ́ o àwa búrẹ́ adúpẹ́ àná wa ó borí tùnébọ̀ orí ẹni àwa dúpẹ́ àwa búrẹ́. Àwa dúpẹ́ o, àwa búrẹ́. Adúpẹ́ àná o, a ó borí tùnébọ̀ irúnmọlẹ̀. Àwa dúpẹ́, àwa búrẹ́. Àwa dúpẹ́ o, àwa búrẹ́. Adúpẹ́ àná o, a ó borí tùnébọ̀ lẹ́gùn lọ́rìṣà. Àwa dúpẹ́. Àwa búrẹ́, àwa dúpẹ́ o, àwa búrẹ́. Adúpẹ́ àná o, a ó borí tùnébọ̀. Olodumare and the divinities, we ask that you would also forgive us. Forgive us for the challenges. Forgive us for the things that we might have done incorrectly or wrong. Eros when tutu, pounded yam without soup can be very difficult to consume. These would decorate Sifa to a tutu, the child of Agbaniregun, he who's full of bad character, he whose bad attitude had prevented him from entering Tifa's domain. Now we come to solicit on behalf of a tutu. We've come to beg on behalf of a tutu. Father, please be and overlook this provocation. Those who beg on behalf of tutu. Ifa. Please be patient and overlook this provocation. Ifa, we ask that you would continue to ward off all death, ward off all sickness, ward off cases and controversy, ward off fights, litigation, losses, and outright fights, witchcraft, and negative forces from us. Ifa, we call on the Odu Ogbe Lara. Ogbe Lara Rumla says it's time to sleep. I echo it, it's time to sleep. With the day dawn, I bet a Rumla in the 16th room where he covered his head with a flowing gown full of lice. He was wearing a dress full of bloodstains. He was snoring heavily. They told him now, delegate from his disciple had arrived, Orumla inquired about what the delegate had brought. They told him that he brought 2 rats swift in running, 2 fish graceful in swimming, and 2 birds swift in flight. Orumla said, that is not enough to wake him up. I admit my ignorance. Please educate me. Montuna Karaba, I hide myself in your bosom and survive. Montuna Karaba, the dog carrying masquerade who beats the Agba drum repeatedly. The dog carrying masquerade beats the Agba drum repeatedly to perform rituals because of children. You are the leaders. We are the followers. Leaders are the ones who show the followers wisdom. Orumla told them to get alligator pepper, told them to get cola nut, to get bitter cola, told them to get alcohol. That is right. As now he is fully awake. Orumla, when you are fully awake, please look at me with your eyes of compassion. It is with eyes of compassion that the heavenly stars use to look at the stars below. Orumla, when you are fully awake, please look at me with your eyes, which help one to secure great wealth. There's such good eyes that the heavenly stars use in looking at the stars below. Orumla, when you are fully awake, please look at me with your eyes, which help one to secure a good spouse. It's such good eyes my spouse should use and look at me with. Orumla, when you are fully awake, please look at me with your eyes, which help one to bear many children. It's such good eyes that a child should use in looking at a well-decorated plate. Before long, not too far, join us in the midst of all Ire. Ifa, at this time, we ask that you would continue to ward off death, ward off sickness, ward off all the challenges of our life, and in its place, bring to us long life, good spouse, good children, longevity, prosperity, victory over adversity, peace of mind, healing, success, and all the good things of life. We call on the holy Odu Oshetura. Tani are the feet of Tubu. The stripe of a chameleon is not big enough to be used as headgear. Had it been enough to be used as headgear, I would have taken it home and adorned my head with it. These Wifa's decorations to Arula when going on a spiritual mission to Jebelan. We've called locust bean seller and pay her money. We've called on the salt seller and make her rich. We've called on Oshe Aruela because Oshe Aruela is a good awo. Oshe Tura. Akekene Bagisa. The axe struck sharply against the tree. Castifa for Orumla when he was going to receive Iba and I from Damar. The world tells you should be wealthy, you should surely be wealthy. Akekene Bagisa, in the mouth of an awo resides Iba and Ashe, in the mouth of an awo. If no one tells you you shall have joy, you should surely have joy. Akekene Bagisa, in the mouth of an awo resides Iba and Ashe, in the mouth of an awo. If an awo tells you you should have peace, you should surely have peace. Akekene Bagisa, in the mouth of an awo resides Iba and Ashe, in the mouth of an awo. If an awo tells you you shall have all the good things of life, you should surely have all good things of life. Akekene Bagisa, in the mouth of an awo resides Iba and Ashe, in the mouth of an awo. Ashe. Ashe Orisha lẹ́nu mi o, Ashe Orisha lẹ́nu mi. Gbogbo tí mo bá màmá wí o, ìrúnmọlẹ̀ ò bá. Ifá ò bá o, Ashe Orisha lẹ́nu mi. Ashe Orisha lẹ́nu mi o, Ashe Orisha lẹ́nu mi. Gbogbo tí mo bá màmá wí o, ìrúnmọlẹ̀ ò bá. Ifá ò bá o, Ashe Orisha lẹ́nu mi. Bímọ dúró tí mo ṣúre, bímọ bẹ̀rẹ̀ tí mo ṣúre, bímọ kúnlẹ̀ tí mo ṣúre, bímọ jókòó tí mo ṣúre, ire tí mo sùn orí ti bọ́. Bímọ dúró tí mo ṣúre, bímọ bẹ̀rẹ̀ tí mo ṣúre. Bímọ kúnlẹ̀ tí mo ṣúre, bímọ jókòó tí mo ṣúre, ire tí mo sùn orí ti bọ́. Now, Olodumare, we hold on to our Oris. Our Ori is our good luck charm. Ori ẹni làrúrẹ ẹni o, Ori ẹni làrúrẹ ẹni, mojúlọ mi ò fà wá mọ́rí. Ori ẹni làrúrẹ ẹni. Ori ẹni làrúrẹ ẹni o, Ori ẹni làrúrẹ ẹni, mojúlọ mi fà wá mọ́rí. Ori ẹni làrúrẹ ẹni. Bòbòrè Jásù, Ifá ọba Ọlọ́run, Àtìbà Jásù, Ifá ọba Ọlọ́run. Ó ṣe àrùn ìlà Ifá ti bọ́, gbogbo rẹ̀ tí a sú. Ifá ọba lọ́run, àtìbà tí a jú. Ifá ọba lọ́run, ó ṣe àrùn ìlà Ifá ti bọ́. Olodumare and the divinities, we thank you for life, health, strength, food, clothing, shelter. We thank you for all the blessings that you've given us. We thank you for protecting us. We ask at this time that you would continue on that mission of protection. We also ask that you would continue to ward off death, ward off sickness, cases, controversy, wars, fights, cancer, AIDS, diabetes, high blood pressure, hypertension, COVID-19, warding off all of these challenges from us, warding off witchcraft, warding off danger, problems, ward off all these negative and evil things from us. And in its place, bring to us long life, good, compatible spouse, good children, peace of mind, wealth, and all good things of life. We ask that you would bring all these wonderful things to us. Ashe, Aboro, Aboe, Aboshishe, Aboto. Thank you all so much for tuning in today. Once again, this is Oluo Fakola Day of Idin Ka Ifa Temple. I want to encourage you all to like and share, like and share, like and share. And also, I wanted to send some shout outs and thank yous to people who have definitely supported us all along this way. I want to say a great thank you to my wife, Ia Ifa Domininu. She's just there, standing up, handling business, cleaning up, lifting stuff overhead. Thank you so much. I want to thank my sister, Ia Robin. I also want to give thanks to Tanda Sizwe Shamaringa for assisting with the broadcasting. Also to our members, Denise Mendoza, Miss Susanna, Jax, Zayden. We want to give thanks to my parents, the Edmonds family. Also, we want to give thanks to other members like Miss Ifadara. I want to send you a shout out. Thank you so much for your support. To my Baba Ifa, of course, Shalak Bade Popola. To Oluanla Irawu Ifa, Jose Agbola, Jose Rodriguez, Jajola. We want to send shout outs and thank yous to all of these people for setting up and supporting all of us and supporting all of our movements, supporting everything that we're doing. We thank you. I might have missed some people, but I'm gonna thank you all again at the end. But please like and share, and also if you enjoy what we're doing, please join in so that you too can participate in the blessing. I also wanted to send a big, gigantic shout out to Miss Maritza Clay. She is the one who has gone through and made these incredible Eleke and Ides for the temple. So we want to send a big shout out and thank you to her for all of her help and all of her support. So we're broadcasting live on Facebook, on Instagram, and also YouTube. So everywhere, wherever you are, peace, thank you, big up. So today we want to talk about the concept of I'll make me a world, which is such a powerful, powerful concept. So first, I want to pray once again and bring more good energy into this space. We call on you, Olodumare. We call on all of the 801 Irumole to support us, the 401 Irumole that are able to travel back and forth. We want to call you to this space. We want to also invoke and call on the 256 Odu Ifa to support us at this time. We ask that you would support in warding off death, warding off sickness, challenges, problems, technological issues. Ward off all these negative things at this time. Ward off worry and anxiety, illness, and bring to us long life, healing, good spouse, good children, victory. Please move my ego out of the way so that we can hear a word of good Ifa. Ashe. Emma kamimene ama, Emma kamimene ano, Emma kamimene adelokun, tamole, tori Ifa lonimi, ebora timpanini, eni banami, aun ati Ifa lelejo. Ashe. So let's get right into it. The ability to manifest and create your world with words. I took this from an incredible poem. My mother, back in the days when I was growing up, she would make me memorize poems by James Weldon Johnson. And those of you who are familiar with the Harlem Renaissance, you should know about this poem that James Weldon Johnson said. And James Weldon Johnson is also the individual who wrote the Black National Anthem, Lift Every Voice and Sing. He wrote a book of poetry, but they were sermons. And the name of the sermon was The Creation. So he said, if I can remember the poem correctly, and God looked out on space and he looked around and he said, I'm lonely. I'll make me a world. As far as the eyes of God could see, darkness covered everything, blacker than 100 midnights, down in a cypress swamp. Then God smiled, and the light broke, and the darkness rolled up on one side, and the darkness stood on the other. This is such a powerful poem. But when we think about this small piece of the poem where he says, God looked out on space, and he looked around and said, I'm lonely. I'll make me a world. This aspect is that ability that Olodumare has to speak things into existence, to utter them into existence. And in terms of that, we too are co-creators in this process. We are co-creators in the process of orchestrating what's happening in our world, in our life. What do we do when we want greater things out of life? And all we are surrounded by are haters. And not just haters, but also surrounded by negative talk, negative self-talk, negative thinking. So I want to talk about how do we transform our words to make us a world? Because in essence, a thought is a thing. Our words have actions. They have ashe behind it. If you didn't know, the human brain has at least, if I remember correctly, at least 60,000 thoughts within a day's time. At least 60,000 thoughts that we're thinking. And then on top of those thoughts, the brain is, or the mind is having these thoughts, and then the brain is literally sending out hormones. It's sending out electricity, stimuli to literally carry out the things that we are thinking. Somebody say, be careful what you think. If you think negatively about yourself, this Ori right here is nothing but a machine that manifests what you create. The more we think about bad things, the more we attract the circumstances that will bring those negative things to us. The more we think about great things, the more we will invoke that which is great coming to us. So we're creating our world. How do we create the best world possible? Well, first of all, you want to include in your mind positive things that will give you the fuel to speak great things into existence. You don't want to curse yourself. You don't want to say, man, I'm not the best looking. I'm not the best at what I do. You want to say, no, I'm great. I'm greater than what I even think I am or know myself to be. I'm greater than all of those things. You see how the energy shifts when you begin to say something different about yourself, it creates a smile on your face. It creates a smile inside. Ifa says on the Odu Ifa, Oshe Tra. Akin Oso, Akin Okun, Oshe Tire is what they call Atare pepper in Ketu land. And Ajanlewa is what they call kola nut in Ilewa land. They told him to go and procure OT. And then they responded, OT is not good enough to make Ebo manifest or be accepted. They said, go and procure palm wine. They said, palm wine has too much sediments. They said, go and procure cool water. I said, yes, it is through my mouth that all my prayers will manifest. Now the mouth has the proper blessing. This was the Ifa cast for Kolobo bird when going to receive all blessings from the mouth of the snail. He was advised to offer a bow. He complied. Now, Kolobo, use your mouth and pray for yourself. Pray for prosperity. Pray for good children. Pray for a compatible spouse. Pray for victory. Pray for all array of life. And pray for longevity. Now, Kolobo bird, you go and pray. Use your mouth and pray for yourself. Ashe, when we think about that powerful Ifa verse, Ifa is saying that it is through the mouth. Our mouth is a powerful tool to bring good things into manifestation for ourselves. If you say it, you can actualize it on so much of a powerful and deeper level. When we think about the concept of affirmation, the ability to affirm things into existence, we don't really, in Ifa, we focus so much on, okay, Ebo, and this and that. But the other thing is, how about when you have positive self-talk? How about what do you do every day? How do you program yourself every day for optimum success, for optimum greatness? One thing, every morning for me, every morning I wake up, first thing I do is I go and pray. Go and pray, go to the shrine room, put my head to the ground, and I begin to say those morning prayers that we did today. Those are some of the things that I fill up the day with. That is what I start my day with. And once you start your day with prayer, it can change the course of the day if it isn't but in terms of your own personal perspective on things. How do you perceive the world based upon the fact that you've prayed today? You've affirmed certain things into your world. So then when you begin to see anything outside of the context of what you prayed for, you don't have to accept that. This Ori that we have right here is so powerful because Ifa also says, if you are blessed, if you are cursed, the only way you can achieve that or actualize that is if it is also affirmed by your Ori. Ashe. So when we think about all of this energy and all of this power, Ifa says on the Odu, Ogberete, Ifa says, Akin Bade the Awo in Elewin town and Akin Boso, the Awo in Ilesa town. The sturdy man, as sturdy as the axe, the metal axe blade, and as massive as the fetus of the buffalo. The leopard is it which kills the hunting dog right in the presence of the hunter. And the hunter dare not say a word. This was the Ifa cast for Orunmila, when he was going to open his mouth wide open and all blessings would be coming into his house. He was advised to offer a bow. He complied. Now, Ifa says that I am an Osunsun tree. I say I am an Osusu tree. Ifa says that I am a broom. I say that I am a broom. I sweep my house by myself. Many damsels will come and take over the broom. Many damsels. Before long, not too far, join us in the midst of victory. Come and see all array of life. In this Odu Ogbeerete, Orunmila was without money. He had no wife. He had no stable home. And Ifa said it is through his good character and through him saying his prayers and affirming and actualizing and bringing all those great things into his life. It is through the mouth. So when we think about all of these things, life and death are found within the power of the tongue. I know that many of us might have seen some sort of Ifa work where Babalaos say an incantation and can reduce an animal to nothing. That's real. We can speak life or we can choose to speak death into ourselves, into all things. It's merely a choice. And this relates to our character. So I want to share an interesting story that deals with that level of intelligence and that level of clear thinking and your ability to use your mouth as your success and also your failure. This verse of Ifa comes from the Odu Ifa Ogbe Wayin Ogbe Wari. Ifa says, "It is wisdom that brings one to the war front, and their voice will haunt them. If they claim to be too intelligent, they will be forced to experience trial by ordeal." This was the Ifa cast for Asoro Sambese when he was going to follow his lord, the Oba, into Oyo town. He was advised to offer a bow. He complied. Now, Asoro Sambese, you have become victorious. Asoro Sambese, you have been vindicated. Had the Oba followed the advice, he would have stayed on the throne for longer. Now, Asoro Sambese, you have been vindicated. So this is a story about a young man. His name was Asoro Sambese. Asoro Sambese was extremely intelligent. He wasn't like a diviner person, but he was very perceptive and he was keen on observing things in terms of he could look at stuff and be like, okay, I see this, and he would put two and two together by his deduction and his use of logic in order to get the upper hand in various situations. And he would say things at the right time in order to make things happen that would enhance his favor and his flavor and his success. This was Asoro Sambese. He was kind of like a lot of these young folks out here today. They're quick-witted, observant, and there's an element of deep, deep, deep wisdom in the way he approached certain things. And with that interesting cleverness, oftentimes folks who have that often manipulate it. You know what I mean? When I say they manipulate it, they might manipulate their level of power by trying to get over on people, trying to some who have that great gift, they might try to get over on young ladies. They might try to get over on the system. They might try to, file for added money and get that money because they have the intellect and the ability to do certain things, particularly during this pandemic time. That was how Asoro Sambese was. He was very intelligent, had a quick-witted tongue, and he had the ability to cunning and guile and get himself into interesting situations. So there's one day that the Bale, a leader in the town that he lived in, the Bale had died. And so the Bale, who was the incumbent, the designate, which was the new Bale, was coming in to organize the affairs of his father, who was the old Bale. And what he was doing is, as he was organizing the affairs of the father, when a person dies, what ends up happening is people will settle the debts of that parent, in Yoruba land. They'll settle the debts of that person. Anyone who dies, they'll be like, okay, you owed this. Okay, and then this person, you owed Baba this, and Baba owed you this. And so they had to convene a meeting because actually the Bale owed a lot of money. So they convened the meeting, and the incumbent Bale was sharing with people saying, okay, it is true that our Baba has done great things for us. He's helped us in every situation. Anytime we needed anything, Baba was there. The Bale was there. He came and he supported us. He was there for all of us, right? And everyone was like, yes, Ashe, Ashe. He went and sometimes he put the house up for you over there, right? Ashe, he did that for me. And everyone in the room was in agreement. Then the incumbent Bale said, well, now's the time that if you say you love your father like you said you did, if you really love your father like you said you did, now's the time to assist because we need to settle his debts. He owes much money. So please, what can you offer to help settle Baba's debts? So the incumbent Bale, he then said, you know what? I'm Baba owes thousands of cowries. That's the type of money. So he said, I will pledge 30 cowries. Okay, that's what I'm pledging. Matter of fact, I'll pledge 100. So we pledged 100 cowries. Then others were saying, I can account for 30 calories. Okay, they're jotting it down. I can account for this amount of calories, that amount of calories. So as this is happening, a sort of Sambese is passing by, and he hears people saying, 30 calories, 40 calories, 50 calories, and he's thinking, oh, they're settling the inheritance of what the Bale owes, what he owed to this person and what he owed to that person. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go in and Solo Sambese busts into the gathering and he says, you know what? I'm an honest child. Mine is 30,000 calories. And everyone's like, oh, wow, oh my goodness. You are such an interesting and great youth. And he was like, yes, I am. I'm a great youth. And my parents have raised me right. They've taught me well. And they were like, yes, this young man has come in and he has pledged to pay his debt. And we didn't even know he owed anything. And he owes 30,000 calories. And he just comes and shares it with us. You are such a great youth. And Solo Sambese begins to think, like, hold up, man, I owe 30,000 calories? So he debates it. Then Osoro Sambese says, well, no, actually, your father owes me 30,000 calories. Then the new ballet says, no, I mean, we've got a list and your name's not on it. Osoro Sambese kept protesting and saying, well, look, no, he owes me 30,000. So the Baba says, all right, since you owe our Baba, since our Baba owes you 30,000 calories, we're going to pay you those 30,000 calories today. Although I don't believe you. But here's what you're going to do. We'll take those 30,000 calories and we're going to put it on our Baba's grave. And then what you are going to do, you're going to go and we're going to take a little bit of the dirt from his grave and make a bath with it. And you will bathe in the dirt and the water that came off of his grave. And you will swear an oath before you pick that money up. And Osoro Sambese knew that by doing that, he was damning his own life. To do that, he basically was asking for the ballet to join him, or asking to join the ballet. So they said, if you do that, if you are lying, by the end of the day, you'll be with our great Baba. Osoro Sambese continued to protest, and they finally said, you know what? Since you're not going, you only have two choices: either take the money off the grave or pay 30,000 calories. Those are your only two choices. So they got the authorities involved because Osoro Sambese tried to leave. They got the authorities, and he was remained under the custody of the Oba. As Osoro Sambese was in prison at the home of the Oba in the palace, he was distraught because he had to pay off a debt of 30,000 calories. And finally, the Oba says, well, look, I need you to be my servant to work this debt off. Osoro Sambese would work the debt. And the Oba decided he was going to travel to the town of Oyo. He said, okay, as we're traveling to the town of Oyo, I want my new servant, Osoro Sambese, to accompany me. Before Osoro Sambese went on the journey, he went and cast Ifa, because he was like, I'm super distraught, so many problems, I don't understand. The Babalawo says the Odu is Ogbe word. Osoro Sambese, the problem is this: your mouth got you into trouble. And with proper abo, it is the same mouth that got you into trouble that will get you out of trouble. So he offered his abo and took his leave with the Oba. The Oba was traveling, and they're traveling to Oyo town. And as they're traveling, Osoro Sambese says to the Oba, he's like, look, Oba, a blind horse has passed this way. The Oba was like, how do you know a blind horse has passed this way? Baba, Oba, there's a blind horse has passed this way on the path. We need to catch up and get to it. I guarantee you there's a blind horse that passed this way. The king laughed and said, that's impossible. You can't know that. So Sambese said, well, look, if a blind horse is passed this way, by the time we get to Oyo town, then you will owe me, you will pay off 10,000 calories of my debt. The Oba was like, easy bet, yes. And if you're wrong, you'll owe me 10,000 more calories. Ashe, we'll do it. So as they continue passing along the way, they stop to use the restroom at the bank of a river. Osoro Sambese looks around. He says, look, Oba, a pregnant woman was urinating here. The Oba was like, how do you know this? He's like, yes, and the woman was pregnant. She's pregnant with a boy. The king laughed. Like, how can this fool know this? Nobody knows there's, a pregnant woman passed away and a blind horse. He's got to be out of his mind. Somebody says, well, look, if it is true that there's a woman that passed this way when we get to Oyo Town and that she actually is pregnant with a boy, you take off the rest of my debt. And if she's pregnant, you take off. If she stopped this way, you take off the rest of my debt. If she's pregnant, you take off the rest of my debt, and I ride back on your horse. And if she's pregnant with a boy, I ride back on your horse, and you give me money. The king laughed and said, sure. And if you are wrong, so somebody say, you are perpetually my servant till the end of your life. Ashe. So they make it into Oyo land. And Osoto Sambe says, begins looking around, hunting around. He says, come on, Oba, look. Here's the man. The man, he has a horse. Okay. He asked the man, excuse me, sir, this horse that you had, is this horse blind? The man says, yes, the horse is blind. And then Osoto Sambe says, did this horse come from Ogun State on the way to Oyo? He says, yeah, he came on the same path, that same road. We came on that road. And Osoto Sambe looks at the king. 10,000 of my debt off? The king says, Ashe, it is. Yes, it's off. So then Osoto Sambe begins looking through the crowd, hunting. And then he finds a young lady who's expecting. He says to her, well, look, ma'am, I have to ask you this question. You're pregnant. She's like, yes. Did you urinate on the road from Ogun State to here? Did you urinate along the side of the road by a river? Yes. And he said, okay. If you for sure did that, you urinated there, your urine is what will save my life. Your urine has just freed me. And so he tells her this. She's like, how could my urine free this man? The king comes along and he confirms it. Okay, so this woman, she urinated, she's pregnant, and she did it by the river. She was on the same road. Am I free of 20,000 of my debt? The king says, yes, Ashe. But now we need to see if she's going to have a boy. So what they did, they waited 3 days. The woman went into labor 3 days later. And indeed, she gave birth to a boy. And then Asura Sambese rode back on the horse with the king. On the king's horse. He rides back into town. So after this, the king decides, you know what, I want Osoto Sambese around. He's actually a cool dude and he knows things. He knows stuff. So he decides to hang out with Osoto Sambese or have Osoto Sambese hang with him. So one day he's going to go check on his plot of land. He calls up Osoto Sambese to come hang out with him. Osoto Sambese comes, he's hanging out, chilling. And the first thing is the king comes out and he's arguing with his wife. The king, the Oba, is arguing with his wife, and he's arguing, cussing her out because she had upset him earlier that day. And the cursing elevated to him striking his wife. And Osoto Sambese is watching this like, wow, he's hitting his wife and he's arguing. And then people tried to stop the king. The king was like, no, get off me. No, boom, boom, boom. And then they got on their horse to check on the plot of land. As the king and Osoto Sambese arrive at the place, one of his his servants is there, and the servant had not cleared aspects of the land as the king had asked. So what do you think the king did? He began to beat and strike the slave or the servant and beat him and beat him and beat him down. He started, and then once he was on the ground, he started kicking him and jumping on him. And then there are people saying, King, 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 don't do it, don't do it, stop, come on, pull back, don't do it. The king continued, just beating them down. So after this severe beating, Osoro Sambe said, looked at the king and he said, Baba, I'm going to tell you this. Oba, the person they say is your father, that ain't your dad. Your father is not the king. The Oba was like, you are full of it. And Osoro Sambe says, well, you know what? If you believe that, I want you to bet your kingdom on it. I want you to put it all on the line, because your dad ain't your father's not the man that you think he is. I'm telling you, he's not. The king protested and protested, and then the king, being the man that he was, he decided, you know what? I'm going to take you up on this, and I'm going to prove you wrong. And when I prove you wrong, you'll be in perpetual servitude of me. Osoro Sambe said, fine, your kingdom or my slavery. It's a bet. So Osoro Sambe says, you know what, Oba, what you need to do, you need to go ask your mother. Ask your mom who your daddy is. The king then goes to his mother, and he got on his knees in what is called a Ikuli Abiyamo position. He said, Iya, I beg you, with a Kunle Abiyamo, in the Kunle Abiyamo position, I want you to reveal to me who indeed is my father. So someone say, oh, wait. No. We're not doing it like that. If you're going to lose your kingdom, you're going to have to do that publicly. So we need to call a meeting, call all the king's men, all the people. We need to call everybody into the space. And then you ask your mother. We need to hold a holy meeting for this. So the king agreed. So on the faithful day, he calls all his court. Everybody, the whole community is present. He's in literally the middle of the court of his palace. And he brings his mother out, and he gets on his hands and knees. He says, Iya, I beg you, with Ekunle Abiyamo, who is my father? And she begins to kind of protest the answer. He says, no, please tell us, who is my father? And she busts into tears. She says, me and your father, the king, we never had any problems until one time we got into a really bad argument. And then when we got into this argument, I went back home to live with my mom and dad. I wanted him to come and get me, but he stayed away. And while I was with my mom and my father, no one would communicate with me. No man would talk to me because they knew me to be the wife of the king. And so I became very, very lonely. So lonely that one day there was the only person who would talk to me was a man who was a drunkard. And I thought of him to be handsome enough. So one day I took him home, and I was nursing him back to health because he had been drinking so much. And he slept on the mat on the floor. And one night, one thing led to another, and you were conceived. Shortly thereafter, the king finally came to bring me back to the court, not knowing that I was with child. And everyone in the court were like, oh my God, he's not the king. He wasn't the child of the king. He's not even a king. He's, the king, everyone was reacting to the issue. And then Asoro Sambese said, it is my crown. Ashe. Everyone was like, that is when everyone started singing this song. Asoro Sambese, you have been vindicated. And the king said, you know what? Before I leave my throne, I want to know how you knew all this stuff. How did you know? First of all, how did you know the horse was blind and then the woman was pregnant and she urinated and she was having a boy? And how did you know that my father wasn't my father? Soto Sambese says, well, first, the horse. As we were traveling along the path, one side had plenty of grass, while the other side was picked totally no grass on that side. So the horse had to only see one side. He didn't see this side. So I deduced by the tracks there had to be a horse there, and that horse only ate from one side, which is the one eye that he could see out of. Now, the second situation, the woman. How did I know she was pregnant? How did I know it was a woman? First of all, I knew it was a urination of a woman because when a man urinates, the urine goes out and then the trail comes back to the man. But when the woman urinates, it's straight down. And he said that there's this thing, I think it's called la cori, and when a woman is pregnant, the force of the bladder being pressed on by that fetus, it jets out. So it created a bigger hole. And then the force of that hole, I knew that it was a boy. And last, I knew that your father wasn't your father because the way you act. You do not act with you don't act with kingly nature. You are not patient. You're not calm. You're not elevated. You act like a worthless person. Your father, the person they say was your father, the Oba, he was patient. He was calm. He was kingly. But you act like a fool. I knew you couldn't have royal blood in you because of the way you acted. When you beat your wife and no one could stop you, and the fact that you laid hands on her. No king does that. And then the fact that you beat your servant and you beat him down and no one could pull you off of him. No king does that. No king stoops down to do that. So you could never be a king. Ashe. So with this story, we see Asoro Sambese utilizing his keen ability to analyze. And then because he has that keen ability to analyze issues, he can also bring what he wants into existence. He can say, you know what? I know you're wrong because I know the truth. I've analyzed it very well. And now I can use my ashe to speak what I need into the world. What does this say for us? This Ifa says to us that the things that we do, the things that we say, all of those things have great, great, great power. And if we want to use and wield that power well, we need to be well informed and well elevated. We need to have the best things inside of us. We want to consume the best kinds of food to enhance our physical body. We want to we want to consume the best kinds of media and information so that we can have the best things nourishing our minds. We want to inform our mind with the best thoughts so that we can have elevated thoughts. There are so many people that have healed themselves of degenerative diseases with a good mindset and a good diet. By utilizing those two things, you can overcome so many mountains. So with that, I say, let us speak great things into this world. Let us color our world with great things. Let's call into existence great children. Let's call into existence great spouse. Let's call into existence optimum health. Let's invoke that at this time. Let's invoke healing to our households, healing to our world. And what that also means is when the stuff that ain't what we prayed for, ain't what we said we wanted, and ain't what we paid for. I often tell people when we're offering a bow, you get what you pay for, but not always what you pray for. So if you paid for the blessing with your blood, your sweat, your tears, when something opposite to that comes into your circle, you need to cancel that. You need to cancel all the other stuff because you're focused. You know what you want. That's part of it too. Because the moment you start attracting with your mind and your mouth and your thoughts, there's going to be all sorts of stuff coming. So you have to discern and you have to say and you have to be discriminatory as to what you actually want. So I want all of us to be thinking about, what do I want in this world? How do I want it? How do I want to manifest these great things? And then I want you to manifest it. I want you to pray those things into existence. Ashe? Ashe. Ashe. Thank you all so much for joining with us. I hope that made sense to you. I pray that was something that was rich for everybody to hear, listen to, and enjoy. I have a couple of announcements. I want to send big shout outs to Ile Ayo. We had the Oshun Festival here yesterday. It was wonderful with Babalosha Egbeleke. Thank you so much for sharing the space. And also Iya Ifa Domininu, who assisted in that process. We want to thank both of you. We had it right here at this Ile, and it was good. It was very good. So we want to have some more events, and we want to continue to work together and support each other in this mission. Also, Itarogun is coming up. Itarogun is coming up soon. I will give you the announcements for that. I believe Itarogun will be this week. So just be aware and be on the lookout for the announcement for Itarogun if you would like to participate in watching and all of those things. Also, I want you all to be aware that if you like, you can like and share. You can donate. If you support the cause, you support what we're doing, please like and share videos. Share them with your family if this is rich information that you feel that that will really, really help and enhance your life and other people's lives. Please like and share. If you would like to give donations, please do. So we can keep this mission going, keep transforming this world and doing great things. Um, I think that's pretty much it in terms of any announcements that I might have. But I want to also thank you all for joining us again today and just continue to speak great things into the world. Last, I want to pray for our elevation and our absorption, of these messages that we've shared today. Olodumare, Olodumario, we ask you to come and truly, truly, truly support us. Come and look out and look after us. Please come and ward off death. Continue to ward off sickness. Continue to ward off challenges and losses from us. We ask that you would bring to us long life, good spouse, good children, peace of mind. Bring joy to us. Bring healing to us. Bring elevation to us. We ask that you would continue this process of transforming us so that we too can truly, truly see our greatness. Help us to see ourselves the way you see us. Ashe, Aboro, Aboye, Aboshishe. Thank you all so much and enjoy the rest of your day, rest of your week. Let's jam out. Ashe. Any questions I'm seeing? Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you too. All right.